Dr. Anthony Fauci, for example, who's on the Vice President's Health Commission on COVID, say that by wearing a mask, you're helping to stop the spread. What do you think of that?
He's a liar.
And why is that?
Because I don't believe in numbers.
Our very own Michael Shore went to Georgia to speak to Trump supporters going to a Trump event. And unfortunately, Donald Trump's rhetoric on masks has certainly rubbed off on his supporters, as you can hear from that woman who is not a supporter of logic. Now, with that said, Trump unfortunately continued to reiterate his skepticism toward mask wearing in the middle of this pandemic during the ABC News town hall. Let's take a look at what his answer was.
A lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters, they come over and they serve you and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they were serving me and they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them, I'm just saying what happens. They're playing with a mask, so the mask is over and they're touching it, and then they're touching the plate. That can't be good. There are a lot of people, if you look at Dr. Fauci's original statement, you look at a lot of people, CDC, you look at a lot of people's original statement, they said very strongly, George, don't wear masks. Then all of a sudden they went to wear masks. The concept of a mask is good, but it also does, you're constantly touching it, you're touching your face, you're touching plates. There are people that don't think masks are good.
Listen, that answer is one of the many reasons why it's so important for honest people to always be honest and precise in what they're saying and advocating for, especially during a crisis like this pandemic. So Trump isn't wrong. In the very, very beginning, people were told not to wear masks, but it wasn't because the masks were ineffective. People were told not to wear masks because there was a mask shortage in the United States and frontline healthcare workers needed access to those masks in order to do their jobs. So honestly, that disinformation was damaging and now Trump is using it to his advantage. And we gotta be honest about that. So let's just state it. And now let's move on to the crazy, ridiculous answer that Trump gave there about what happens with waiters and waitresses who wear masks. There was a comment in a thread from a waitress in Wisconsin on the efficacy of masks. And I wanna read what she had to say. I'm a server, I have been for over 20 years. And he is right, servers do not wanna wear a mask. We do, however, want to have a job, not get sick, keep our guests safe, make money, go back to normal. We wear masks because it is the right thing to do, plain and simple. I really appreciated that tweet. And John, I wanted you to jump in and share your thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a great follow-up. Again, it's not like you're gonna pin him down, but okay, so you're sitting there and that waiter is serving you, Donald Trump. So you would have preferred if he had just been breathing directly onto you. If all of these people, instead of touching their mask, were just breathing directly onto you and you'd breathe directly onto them. That's preferable. You seem to be implying that. And to the woman that you had that doesn't believe the numbers, like I wonder often about the things that they believe. So she's going to a Trump event, and if you believe what the Trump event organizers say, they hand out masks to everyone in the audience. Like clearly 90% of them plus don't wear them, but they do hand them to them. So why do they do that? Like from the point of view of that woman who doesn't believe the numbers, why are they handing you a mask? You love Trump. Trump's the best. Why is he wasting his time? Right now, he's working on a vaccine. Why is he working on a vaccine? Why is he prioritizing it since the numbers are all made up as you believe? What's the point of doing that? And I'm sure she'll say something about to placate the media or something, but you have to believe this web of internally contradictory things and just to avoid putting on a mask or to avoid being a part of society. I think it goes a little bit deeper than just the cloth. They don't want to be a part of America coming together to defeat this thing because they've been convinced that it doesn't exist, that it's not a priority, that it won't kill people like them. But sadly it will, and you know what? There's a chance that those two people will get infected from going to the event that they were at. The whole thing on Kayleigh McEnany today was saying that Trump has always supported mask wearing. She said that today after the video that you just played last night.
The double speak drives me crazy. And what also drives me crazy is that this is something that we could have basically fought against together as a country. We could have combated this effectively. We have the resources, the evidence, the medical professionals. We have all of that on our side. And we just don't have the right leadership, of course. Unfortunately, that leadership comes along with a pretty divisive and toxic culture. And if you listen to actual medical experts and professionals, like the director of the CDC, he's very honest about how effective masks really are, Robert Redfield. So let's take a quick listen to what he had to say about masks just today.
Face masks, these face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. And I will continue to appeal for all Americans, all individuals in our country, to embrace these face coverings. I've said it, if we did it for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we'd bring this pandemic under control. These actually, we have clear scientific evidence they work, and they are our best defense. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will.
And social distancing is also very effective. So if you keep your distance from other people and you wear a mask, you are very unlikely to contract the virus. And that's just what the evidence bears out. Countries that have implemented these policies effectively have seen coronavirus numbers, new cases drop significantly. And by the way, I should note, there's a certain number of people in the country that need to wear masks in order for the virus to stop spreading. And so I want to share some of those statistics with you, including what percentage of Americans are actually wearing masks. So according to a key predictive model used by the White House Coronavirus Task Force, the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, universal mask use could save hundreds of thousands of lives by the end of the year. The model projects a total US death toll of just over 415,000 under current conditions versus about 298,000 if universal masking were being observed. As you guys know, we're already at 200,000 deaths. So if people were actually using masks regularly, some people would still get sick, some people would still die, but the number would drop dramatically. The model predicts a death toll of around 612,000 if masking and social distancing mandates are eased, and as we know, they have been eased in many red states. Also, the US is currently at about half the coronavirus mask compliance needed. The model defines 95% mask compliance as the target for the universal mask use, but shows current mask use at just 45%. And yes, if you suspect it's because of Trump supporters, it absolutely is. Among those who plan to vote for Trump this year, only 33% said they'd worn a mask every time they left home. By far the lowest compliance of any subgroup polled. The highest compliance was among Biden voters at 72%. And it's because Biden doesn't mock mask wearing. He wears masks himself when he's out. Leadership matters.
Yeah, and unfortunately, tragically, the lack of compliance among the Trump voters could lead to eventually some of those Biden voters dying. That's the way that it actually works. And people might hear those big numbers that you were talking about and wonder, well, how are we possibly gonna get to that? Well, just as you were talking, the most recent COVID Tracking Project Daily report was released, and over 1,200 Americans had been reported dead in just one day. And that happens every day, day after day after day after day, 1,000 plus more Americans. And so that's how we'll get there. The video that you showed of Redfield there, Trump during his press conference today said that both of the claims that Redfield made there, one about the fact that the masks could be better than a vaccine, and one having to do with the timeline for the vaccine. He said that he was wrong about both those things. He was mistaken, he was confused, he didn't know what he was talking about. That's how you get all of these, the people in Target and the people talking to Michael Shore, not understanding what happens. And also the thing is that we live in a country that fundamentally doesn't understand a lot about medical science. And so they think what happens when you take a vaccine? You're immune, that's it, you don't have to worry about it. That's not how it works at all. And it depends entirely between different vaccines and between different diseases. It could give you a certain amount of immunity. It could give you immunity for a certain period of time. Those sorts of like false beliefs lead to people being okay with, for instance, the herd immunity strategy. The herd immunity strategy is founded on the idea that once enough people have vaccines or have the antibodies, it won't spread enough because those people are immune to it. But we don't know that that's even possible with this particular disease. We just skip past all of that and assume, well, it'd be nice if it was. So let's pretend that it is, and we'll pursue that strategy. What's the worst that could happen? Maybe a few million Americans die. And that sort of lack of interest or knowledge in the science pervades every single bit of the pandemic and our response to it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.